All right, ladies and gentlemen, hello. My name is Darius Anucauskas, and I'm the Chief Market Analyst here at Markets.com. And today is the 17th of July, 2025 still. So yes, welcome everybody. Today's Thursday. Look, I thought I'm going to do a quick little crypto update on what's happening in a way this week and the so-called crypto week, as everybody keeps on talking about. Look, before we jump into anything like that, quickly, let's read through our risk disclaimer. So yes, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation and should not be considered as such. This material should not be taken as an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest. I'm not going to disappear anywhere. Also, basically, I wanted to pick up on the our website, which you can always check out for more information about us. If you have any questions, reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist. Ladies and gentlemen, the Bitcoin. So this week we saw Bitcoin rallying, hitting the new all-time high. And look, if you were watching my videos, I kept on saying I'm aiming for this 78.6% here on the Fibonacci extension, and there we go. So we managed to reach that target. Look, it's we just surpassed it by a little bit, but hey, you know what? Honestly, like I always say, it's never the level; it's always the area around that level. So it was a great move there, a great hold up. So now we're stalling a little bit. Of course, if you're not aware, this week the House of Representatives is debating and I mean, yesterday they already debated, but there are three bills, three acts that are in place that the government, the U.S. government, is trying to push through. So look, there is this so-called Genius Act. I'm going to read it out honestly because it's sometimes it's overwhelming and you keep on forgetting these fancy names. The Genius Act, the Clarity Act, and the Anti-CBDC Surveillance Act. So basically the Genius Act, and again I will read it out because I think that, like I said, you don't memorize these things, because everything keeps on changing. So the Genius Act aims to clarify when digital assets like crypto tokens are considered securities or commodities, helping startups avoid legal uncertainty by providing clear regulatory rules. The guiding and establishing national innovation for U.S. stablecoins, Genius Act, has already passed the Senate. So, and there's now the Clarity Act, which would block federal agencies from using court rulings to overextend regulatory power, ensuring that Congress and not courts defines how crypto assets are classified and governed. So this is basically mainly kind of a spit in the face to SEC with the whole Ripple case. And there's also the third act, which is the Anti-CBDC Surveillance State Act, which would prohibit the Federal Reserve from issuing a central bank digital currency, arguing it could enable government surveillance of Americans' financial activity and threaten individual privacy. So basically, this is that digital token, digital currency that major central banks are very keen on. Because we know that the ECB is planning to implement such a thing as well. However, it seems like in Europe they're going ahead with that, but in the US they're trying to kind of prevent that. Interesting developments in general. Normally the central banks go hand in hand, but here you see there are different interests in place. So look. First of all, the technical picture here on the cryptos here, okay, look, everything seems to be still positive. Yes, we had a little bit of a correction here and there, but overall Bitcoin remains somewhat positive and it seems like it's still willing to travel to the upside. And again, look, there's always this issue where which approach to take. Should I take the buy the rumor, sell the news moment, like when this, if this bill comes into place, then we could see a little bit of a decline or something like that. Again, it's always a difficult one to say. I mean, it's unfortunately nobody has a crystal ball, so that's why we try to position ourselves carefully, and that's why we kind of maybe watch some levels in case those get broken. So look, for now, I'm looking at this from the very short term perspective. I'm looking at the 120,000 here zone. If we clear that, if we push above that, then yes, I'm going to go for the upside again for the current towards the current all-time high. Again, I don't know if we're going to clear the current all-time high or not, but still, I'm going to go in that direction. If we do drop below the 116,000 somewhere there, maybe we could do for a little bit of a larger correction. That said, we have this little short-term upside line, which could still, provide some support. So, long story short, for now, it's like I said, it's looking quite interesting in general. So I think that maybe for the downside, we would actually prefer to wait for the break of this upside line and then kind of go from there. So keep your eyes on that. Of course, there is interest in other cryptos, like for example, Bitcoin Cash. I like this one. It's still holding below 500, but it does have potential to go higher. And so far, I mean, yes, it has been on a move to the upside overall since reversing higher at the beginning of April. So we continue to drift above this upside line. Somebody might say, hey, maybe this is a nice a rising channel formation. Well, in a way, it could be the case. Again, look, you do whatever you're comfortable with. We can do something like this, of course. Maybe this, if it helps you, then yes, of course, do that. But I will try to be, I'll still stick to this upside line. And even though if we do retrace back down, if we stay somewhere above that line and above the 50-day EMA, I will continue targeting the upside. Ethereum looks a little bit more promising. I mean, this is just on fire despite, I mean, wow, look at this. I mean, this is just already hitting the 3,500, almost hitting the 3,500 zone. So, I mean, okay, Ethereum is like, yeah, it's a more attractive one. It seems like that. Ripple is also in that field, so everything kind of is pushing nicely to the upside. Everybody's now waiting for Bitcoin to make a move, but again, let's not rush into things. And look, this idea worked out. I talked about this in my previous videos. I talked about this idea of just a second, Is my microphone not working or something? Just a sec. Let me just double check. No, it seems to be fine. Right. Look, I talked about this in my previous videos, in my Markets Talk webinars, which I do every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So tune in tomorrow on Friday. It's a live session, by the way, but it's also recorded if you wish to, to watch it a little later on. But look, I talked about this and said, look, if we clear this territory, this 2,700, or in general, 2,800. If we clear this one, I'll go to the upside. There we go. We're hitting my levels. This one, that one, here, right here, 3,282. Now we're hitting 3,476, 72. Boom, everything is working out like a charm. All this is kind of slowing down the acceleration here. So look, I think what I want to do right now is actually I want to clear up the chart and I want to have a fresh look because I think that this is what's needed right now. So first of all, of course, I'm going to bring some of the levels back because we cannot really ignore those. But now what we're looking at here is we have this upside line. We cleared the range. Now we have this upside line right here, which in a way could be the one to watch. If you're looking for a short on this one, and I know that there are some people who are interested in a short, well, look, I think that maybe, just maybe, a drop back below the 3,000 zone could be that trigger, could be that catalyst. So at this point, we might see a little bit of a bouncy moment here. Maybe we'll stall a little bit. But again, we're watching the U.S. political front very carefully, what's happening with those legislations, those approvals of those legislations, with those acts. But again, for now, everything seems to be like ripping to the upside, apart from Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. Ripple, for example, look at this, is also pushing towards the all-time high. I think it's going to do it. The current all-time high sits around the 3.39 zone, so let's see what's going to happen there. For now, everything, like I said, is pointing towards the upside. Litecoin is flirting with that 100 zone, so we need a clearance of that 100 zone in order to get comfortable with some higher levels. At the moment, let me just clear up this. This is at the moment we're stuck here. So again, we can do the same thing here. We can draw the upside line like this, and from here we can just kind of aim, like I said, for this 106.0661 zone, something like that, and we'll go from there. So for now, watching it carefully. Dogecoin also seems to be on the positive side. Polkadot, the one that everybody kind of is worried about, still pushing. But look, I said to you before in one of my videos on TradingView, where is that one? I did a few weeks ago, also like a little quick crypto update. I think it was here. There we go. Yeah, Polkadot in here. Basically, I was like bullish on that front here, and it kind of worked out nicely. So I was also telling everybody that, look, although Polkadot seems to be like a bit of a, how to say it nicely, a bit of a messy company, but still, look, it's a speculative product. Is it a long-term investment? I don't know, but it is a speculative product which you can kind of move when the big boys are moving. So also Tron, look at this. I mean, becoming one of my favorite ones. Look at the 0.31. We reached that one. Look at this, just perfect movement here. We managed to rebound from this territory. I talked about this. I said that if we do stay above this area, I will go for the upside again. There we go. Push nicely to the upside. Beautiful move here. Again, the question, where are we going to go next? I mean, are we going to slow down somewhere here, or actually is this to watch like the 0.32 territory? I think we need to move in these increments: 0.31, 0.32, 33, 34, and so on and so on. I think this would be the easier option if you are trading Tron here. So keep your eyes on this one. Of course, at the moment, Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash are interesting cryptos that we're watching. Like I said, we're watching what's happening on the political side in the U.S. with those acts, and let's see, because again, there's some debates if those acts can go through or not. Because if those acts are not going to go through, then certainly we could see cryptos kind of retracing back down a little bit. But the reasons why they could not go through those acts is especially Democrats are seeing this as a kind of a benefit for the current family in the White House administration, because again, they're holding a lot of the company that they're kind of running, the trust fund, which is managed by the children of the new elected leader, and that thing is like that could be seen. These acts could be seen as beneficial for the portfolio of that trust. So yeah, that's why there are concerns. It seems like these are more beneficial acts. Okay, look, we'll see how this political game plays, but certainly it's a lot to take in. I think the weekend could be an interesting one. I mean, Friday will be certainly an interesting one. But then going into the weekend, that maybe then this is where we could see some craziness in the market, in the crypto world. But first, for sure, for now, just stay calm, stay cautious, and again, look, you of course you do whatever you want, but you want to go in right now, feel free, but then don't go all in, because in case this doesn't somehow it stalls. For example, if the acts, they might not go through and they might not kind of get dismissed, but they might stall. And this is where we could see a little bit of a retracement. And looking at, like I said, cryptos like Ethereum, I mean, these are on fire. Ripple is on fire and continues to be so. So again, let's see what's going to happen here. for now. I'm watching this very carefully, and certainly it's very, whenever we have such a strong move to the upside, guess what happens? We get a correction. So just kind of be careful with that, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, that's kind of it. That's all I wanted to share with you, ladies and gentlemen. As always, I hope you found it useful. Let me know in the comments what you think. Would be great to know. And yeah, as always, stay safe. Have your stop losses in place. Risk only what you can afford to lose. Don't overtrade, and everything will be fine. And I'll see you next time in my next top news video. Bye for now.